Hello, welcome to my webinar about setting up a charity. I'm Madani Aryam, employed in the finance section of my charities, of many charities for the last 35 years, and I enjoyed working in charities. We are going to show the necessary slides with proper explanations with the hope that helps you to understand the charity workshop. Yeah. So my co-host will Gayatri. She will introduce herself and she will start to share the slides with me.
Hello, everyone. It's Gedre here again, as always, assisting Vavani tonight. And tonight, as you heard, we are talking about setting up and charity accounting. And let's start with the first slide. What is a charity?
What is a charity? Charity is, is an organization set up by a group. It is not individuals, it's set up by a group, and it helps charities meant to, there must be a vision in setting up a charity. You must have a plan in setting up a charity. You can't, not everybody can set it up. You have to have a plan that will help the people and also help the community, bring the community together. The charity will help. If you don't have clothes, help the people who doesn't have clothes. The charity will give. Doesn't have a place to live, charity will offer a place to live. Like that, charity is meant for that. So when the people set up the charity, that is the program, it should be doing helping the people. That is the purpose of setting up a charity. There are lots of things to consider in setting up the charity. Poking specific mission. That's what I thought. You have to have a mission to set up the charity. That's what I said that. Let us move on to the next charity. Fundraising for charities. Fundraising, people try so many types of fundraising. During Christmas time, people try to collect money from people. And also, the main thing is you have to have the best business plan and everything. You have to have all the documents in place to create a fundraising for charities. I have involved in the fundraising for charities once, whereas I have written the documents, prepared the documents to submit to the donors. Donors means if your charity is in the state, is in one state, the state who is in charge of the state will provide you the funding. It's not that easy to get funding. You have to have all the initiatives through regular call to action. You have to have everything in plan, marketing strategy, finance, everything in plan. Then only you can apply for funding from the state. If they are happy with all what you have done, a charity should have employees, volunteers, and trustees, the important one. Trustees are the people who are in charge of the charity, and they are the people should be helpful to raise funds from. There are lots of places I have been because I have done lots of fundraising work as well. There are lots of places to get fundraising, but it's not that easy. They will come to check the inspection. They will come for inspection. Then when they check everything, and they are happy with that, they will release the fund. These are the ways to raise funds, and also people um, do other some events, fundraising events, create fundraising events to collect money from the people who attend the events. That normally happens during Christmas times. Yeah. Charity financial reporting. To understand what you need to do for charity, first check whether your charity is a company or is a company, or what is the legal entity? If it is a limited company, you have to have the reports, prepare the reports. You have to prepare reports for charity commission, company's house. If you are a limited company, there are other things also you have to do. Decide depending on the income of the current financial year. By just after 10 months of say the charity, you are starting a charity and you are setting up a charity in April. The end of March is a financial year. So from April to end of March, the following year March, that is a financial year. After that, from March to 10 months after March, you have to submit the accounts. You have to prepare the accounts. I'll go deep into the account side, not in this one. I'll talk about it little later. And also, you have to have the charities will have to have their report. Charities report is very important to submit along with the accounts. Yeah. There are lots of rules for accounting for charities. I cannot discuss all the charity accounting. The charities and organization must be of benefit to public. That's what I said. It has to be a test. I was working for the last charity I was working for in 2014. I left the job in 2014. The charity was, I loved that. I was really happy in working there. The charity was giving education. There are a lot of people who have come to this country without the knowledge of English. So our charity was teaching people English and lots of other things also. I didn't know much about what type of teaching they did because I was in the accounts. So they were educating the people. That is a big help so that they can. So if you come into the country and if you have no knowledge about uh, the language, you cannot go into any type of job. To get any type of job, you have to have some sort of knowledge about the language. So they were educating, that is an educational charity it was. They were educating the students who can come into the country, or some people, even if they live in the country, they are not educated. They just do the mother does the odd jobs, and the children grow up without any knowledge. So they were educating the children. So they are helping the public. They are impacting the environment. That is an impact in the environment. That is what. So we have to prepare the accounts. There will be employed staff. A charity will have employed staff, trustees. Trustees are not paid. Trustees, you have to have trustees, otherwise you cannot set up a charity. Employed staff, trustees, and volunteers will be there. So the accounting has to be done. So what type of accounting I was doing? Annual accounts, annual report, submit the annual return to the charity commission. All what I did is I did the annual accounts. The annual report was done by the trustees. This is how we did the accounts. Annual account, the staff or a volunteer would make the yearly accounts. It can be a staff or the volunteer, because normally charities won't allow the volunteers to do the account because they might not have the proper knowledge to do the accounts. They want experienced, qualified people. That's why they employed me. I was in charge of the accounts. And the following accounts the accounts we have to prepare is purchase ledger, sales ledger, nominal ledger. Bank accounts need reconciliation on a monthly basis. Make payments to HMRC. When you have staff, you make the payments, payroll, and you have to make the payment to HMRC. Receipts and payment record, all the type of records you have to have. Then the annual report will be produced by the trustees. Your trustees' yearly income, your charity's yearly income for the current financial year, and the expenses, everything will have to be done, and balance accounts is audited by the auditors. I was doing the accounts. I was in charge of the accounts. I was preparing all the accounts. The auditors came and checked all the accounts, and they approved the accounts, what I did. Then only we can submit to the Charity Commission, the tax office, and also the company's house if it is a limited company. Yes, this is what all about accounts. Yeah. How does volunteering need a charity? How does volunteering help a charity? Volunteers are the assets to the company. They are the assets to the company because what they do is this support the paid staff. They support the paid staff, and also particularly in the uh, raising money event. Yeah, raising funding event. They do that. Of course, they do that. Therefore, the volunteers are the assets to the company. Volunteers usually participate in running the activities, fundraising events. That's what I said, giving publicity. When the volunteers are there to give the publicity because they they go out and do the fundraising work. When you do the fundraising work like that, you will become public. You will be known to the people. Volunteers help them in their day-to-day activities for the charity to serve the community well, because normally charities do not have a lot of staffs because they cannot afford to pay, but they are not funded like that. So they have the volunteers to help them. The volunteers come there to learn the work. See, for example, a person of 20 years old do not want to proceed the studies or maybe studying and want to have a experience. They come and work with the charities to get the experience, and they use that experience to get the other job. Volunteers working for a non-profit organization save a lot of money to introduce more benefits for the underprivileged community around them. The charity is set up particularly to help give benefits to the underprivileged community around them. That's what. Yeah, we can go to the next one. What other skills needed to run a charity? If you are a fundraiser, that will be very, very, everybody will love to have a fundraiser for a charity. Event organizer, because when I was working with the charity, the last charity, we had so many events, but I was not taking part because I was in charge of the accounts. I could not mess around with that. But I was invited. I got the invitation for the event. When the event was happening, I was not involved in organizing the event. When the event was happening, I had to attend. Communication and writing skills. Anybody who works for a charity must have good communication and writing skills also. Positivity and flexibility. Yes, it's a very relaxing. Charities are normally not very tough like the private companies. Charities are very relaxed area, and the only thing. Yeah, let me finish this first, and then I'll talk about the drawbacks. Positivity is there. Everybody will have the positive attitude and the flexibility. Time flexible, you can go. Because I was looking after the small children all the time because I had responsibility. So I was doing this charity, working for charity. Charity is really relaxing. Financial knowledge. If you have the financial knowledge, anybody will take you to work for you in a charity. Collaboration. Charity needs collaboration. Collaboration means all type of people will come into the charity, like people who want to get the benefits, like the students, they came, and the volunteers, lot of volunteers were there. So you should be able to collaborate with. Collaborating skills are very important to run a business. Not only charities, any business, collaboration skills is important, and you must have a lot of patience for that. I love working charities, but the only drawback, in my opinion, I might be wrong, you cannot grow your knowledge. After leaving the charity, I started my business. It is a completely different type of life, because you have to work so hard. Business is so difficult, so extremely hard work you have to do, and charity is not like that. How to set up a charity with a shop with no money? People, there are a lot of, I was doing accounts when I left the job. Then I got somebody wanted me to do the accounts for them. A woman she opened a charity shop, and where she was getting used clothes, everything was used things, and people were buying the used things from the charity. So I did the accounts for them, but they didn't have any fundraising. They didn't have any fundraising. They completely depended on the donations. People give the donation. They go from house to house and collect the donations. Say they come to my house. If I don't like the lots of clothes, I give it to them. So they go and buy. They collect all those things. They put in the shop and they sell it. That's how they made the money. So you do not have any capital, or you do not have any funding. Nobody will fund you immediately. It will take a long time. But the place I was working, employed from 2009 to 2014, I think, no, 2007 to 2014. That was a well-established charity. It has been there for a long, long time. The council was funding the charity, completely funded by the council. But if you start a charity, it will take a long time for you to, unless you are highly experienced person. We have worked for so many charities, and you know how to done the fundraising work. All that, if you have the knowledge, you might be able to get the funding. And also, there are not only the money and the fundraising. You have to have all the documents properly. The documents they need. Yes. If you don't have the documents, nobody will look at you. Yes. Even in business, if I want to get money from a lender, money from a bank or lender, I have to have business bank. I have to have a business plan, cash flow, that and this, every management accounts. How will I get this income? How am I going to use that money? All the same thing applies to charity also. When I was working there, the inspectors came from the council, and they checked all that with me. Yes. So this is the way you can set up a charity with no money. Otherwise, nobody will give you money. Goods donated to the charity, you can sell it. You can sell it from the shop. You start a charity shop, sell it from there, but you have to collect the goods from people. They are not going to come. Everybody is not going to come in and give you. So you have to travel about, go from house to house and collect all that. That's how you run your charity. Next one. Fund accounting for charities. Right. A charity will have 4 types of funding: unrestricted funding, restricted funding, designated funding, endowment funding. The main difference between business accounting, if I do accounting for business, and if I do an accounting for charity, the main difference is I am doing the accounts for the funding. But accounts in the company, in an ordinary company, it's not like that. You don't have to do like that. So unrestricted funding is given by government, UK government. If it's given by the government, they will give you the money to the charity and say you can spend on the charity, you can spend it on anything. Maybe paying the staff, cleaners, and renovating the place, buying things, anything you can do. That is called the unrestricted funding. Restricted funding is when the government give you the restricted funding, they will say this money is for example, is for improving the situation, improving the condition of the charity, or it is for the payment of the staff, you cannot spend a penny from the restricted fund to anything else because inspection will be there. I was responsible for restricted funding also. I never ever made a mistake. I never had a problem. I have worked for charities for 35 years. I never had a problem. I was working for a law center before. The law center lost the funding because of the management mistake. They came to check my accounts. They came and 3 people came and sat around me and they were checking it for 3 days. They were happy about it. They didn't complain anything. So I have been very careful with the restricted funding. Restricted funding, you have to prepare the accounts. There should not, if they gave, say 50,000, if they give you, if you spend 45,000, you have leftovers for 5,000, you cannot use it. You have to pay it back or you had to spend on something else related to the job that you have been doing. So for that, the charity has to find more money. The charity has to find more money to complete the job that they were doing. So restricted funding and unrestricted funding are very important. Designated funding means we want to do some repairs. So the toilet is broken. So you want to do the toilet. That they will give you the money for that. So that building. Once you finish the work, so support the documents, support the accounting and everything. So fund accounting was charities, you have to be careful. Otherwise, they will come and close the charity at any time. You cannot depend on that unless the accounting system is proper. Yeah. So I hope you all like my presentation. Thanks very much for watching it. Thank you. Shall we stop the recording? Stop the recording.